No? Okay. Sorry, guys. Hello, my dear students. I'm happy to see you today. Today we are discussing with you a very interesting and important topic. The topic is yes/no questions. We will finish today's series of webinars about yes/no questions. So let's look. We have here yes, no questions. I'm going to write you some examples. The first one is just the example of yes/no question. For example, do you like ice cream? Such question, when you ask somebody, do you like ice cream, the person can say yes or no. Yes, I do, or no, I don't. And this is the case when we use yes/no questions, because from its answer, you can understand that yes/no questions demand yes/no answer. And that's why they are named like that. Now we will look with you at one more example. Just a second. Let me get my paper. I will write you here one more. Have you seen a ghost? Ghost. Again, ghost is, such usually like when the person dies, his spirit travels around in our world. So this is a ghost. Again, for this question, we need to answer yes or no. Let's look at the structure, how we form yes/no questions. And after that, we will discuss with you how to answer them, what kind of intonation to use, and so on. So, formation. We form yes/no questions in a very easy way. As you can see, at the beginning, number one, we can say here, it's going to be auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verb, or we can also say helping verb. You can watch my webinar about auxiliary verbs and to understand how to identify them when you want to create a question. It's quite important topic, and for using yes/no questions, you need to know how to use auxiliary verbs, how to identify them in the sentence. After auxiliary verb or helping verb, the second one is going to be our subject. After that, we use verb and object, if we have any, and anything else. Let's look at our examples. The first one, do and have. These are auxiliary verbs. You, these are subjects. Like and seen, these are verbs. Ice cream and ghost, these are objects. And this is how we create them. So I will do like that. And like that. Okay. Now what we will do is I'm going to write you sentences, and from these sentences we will try to create yes/no questions. Let's look at the first one. We went to the concert. We went to the concert. We went to the concert. First of all, we need to identify what kind of auxiliary verb we can use here. If we look at the sentence, we can understand that this is past simple, and when we understand that this is past simple, auxiliary verbs that must be used is the verb did. So we ask the question, did, then subject, you or we, went. We already created past simple, and that's why we don't use past simple of went. We use go as infinitive of this verb. So did you go to the concert? And this is how it is created. Let's look at the next one. They had visited Rome before. From this sentence, we can understand that this is past perfect. In past perfect, auxiliary verb must be had, which we can see over here. So we use had at the beginning of our question. And this is how we create it. Had they visited Rome before? Had they visited Rome before? Let's look at one more. Very simple one. She is a teacher. When we want to create a question, we need to identify auxiliary verb. In our case, it's going to be is. So we put is at the beginning. And how we create it? Very easy. Is she a teacher? And well, actually, that's it. I suppose quite simple to use. Maybe one more with modal verbs that you can understand it better. Let's look at he can swim. Swim. We need to create a question. Modal verb can is used as auxiliary verb in questions. So we put it at the beginning. And the question will be, can he swim? This is how it is created. Let's look furthermore, and let's look at our responses, how we can answer yes-no questions. Responding. So if you remember the questions that I asked, the first one, did you go to the concert? The answer is yes, we did, or no, we didn't. We didn't. Yes, we did, or no, we didn't. If the question is, had they visited Rome before, the answer will be yes, they had, or no, they hadn't. Is she a teacher? Yes, she is, or no, she isn't. Can he swim? Yes, he can, or no, he can't. These are full answers. We can also give just short answers. What kind of short answers we can give? Just yes or no, of course. Yes or no. Also, synonyms for yes will be yep, or yeah, or okay, and others. For no will be nope, or nah, and also others. They're quite informative, but anyway, they are used. Let's look at one more part of our rules. This is negative yes-no questions. Negative yes-no questions. Sometimes we want to create negative yes-no questions when we want to check or confirm the information. It's like we already know the answer, but we want just to make sure that we are right. For example, shouldn't we leaving now? Shouldn't we leave now? It's like, yes, of course we should leave now, but you ask the person, shouldn't we leave now? And the person says, yeah, for sure. Or isn't that Paul's car? And the answer is, yeah, for sure, it is Paul's car. It's like, you know already, like for 99% that this is Paul's car, but you want to maybe keep the conversation flow, or you want just to make sure that you're right, and you ask negative question. I think it's quite important one. Except confirmation and checking, we can also use negative yes/no questions when we want to offer or invite somebody for some events. For example, so this was check and confirm, and other examples about invitations and offer. Won't you stay for dinner? Won't you stay for dinner means, why don't you stay for dinner? Please stay for dinner. Or wouldn't you like another cup of coffee? Also, this is offer. The last thing that I would like to discuss with you, I hope it's seen over here. This is about intonation. What kind of intonation we need to use in yes/no questions? Intonation. When we don't know the answer, usually we use rising information. We don't know the answer. When we know the answer, usually we use falling information or intonation, sorry. We know the answer. For example, we don't know the answer. I ask my daughter, are you warm enough? Because I don't know, is it cold for her or it's warm? She's very little. Sometimes she doesn't say about that. So I ask you, are you warm enough? Is it okay for you? And the intonation is rising because I really don't know the answer and I need it. But if I know the answers, then I will use the following information. Like my friend tells me that he has started visiting a psychotherapist, and I tell him, isn't that expensive? The intonation goes down because, well, I know that it is expensive to visit a shrink. Usually it is expensive. If it's not, maybe the shrink is not good enough. I don't know. Well, it's just a suggestion. That's it about yes/no questions. The second part of our webinar, we will practice with you. You will see different sentences, and from these sentences, you will have to create yes/no questions. So I will go and switch on a PowerPoint presentation and see you at the end of the webinar. Okay. I hope you can see well. And let's look at our sentences. I will not hurry very much, but well, we will have to do that. So we have here with you sentences. These are 5 sentences. You have, first of all, to identify what kind of auxiliary verb must be used, and after that to create a yes/no question. Please be careful with that and think twice what kind of auxiliary verb to use. I guess you are ready, and let's look at our answers. The first one, I like vanilla ice cream. This is present simple. For present simple, we need auxiliary verb do. So we say, do you like vanilla ice cream? I have seen a ghost. This is present perfect. Auxiliary verb for this case is have. Have you ever seen a ghost? The next one, she is working very hard. This is present continuous. To create a question, we need to say, is she working very hard? They were traveling together. This is past continuous, and the auxiliary verb in this case will be was or were. So, were they traveling together? The last one on this on this slide, sorry. The soup tastes fine. So we ask a question, does that soup taste fine? This is present simple, so we use does because soup is it. Third person, I mean. Let's look at the next. We have here 5 more sentences from which again you have to create yes, no questions. I guess you had enough time because if you got the point, it will be very easy for you. So the first one we have here, we went to the concert. This is past simple, and for past simple, auxiliary verb usually is did. So we need to say, did you go to the concert? They haven't eaten yet. We have here present perfect, so we ask, have they eaten yet? And the answer will be no. They hadn't visited Rome before. Past perfect. I have already shown you the example. So the question will be, had they visited Rome before? I can help you lift this sofa. This is modal verb can, and we put it at the beginning. Can or could you help me lift this sofa? We can use could instead of can in questions when we want to be more polite. You should open the window. This is modal verb should, so we put it at the beginning. Should I open the window? Let's look at the next task. We have here a situation, and from this situation we have to create a question. Please read the situations, and after that we will look at the answers. I hope you had enough time, and let's look at the first situation. You aren't sure if Rachel and Vicky are going to America. We need to ask them, are you going to America? You want to know if Laura plays tennis. We need to ask Trevor about Laura. So does Laura play tennis? You want to know if Mark has been to Los Angeles. We need to ask you about that. Has Mark been to Los Angeles? You're wondering if Claire enjoyed her holiday. Ask her. Did you enjoy your holiday? We ask about it in past simple. You want to suggest, Rachel, that you both go for a walk. Why don't we go for a walk? Actually, it's not a yes/no question. It's WH question. I don't know why I included it in this webinar. Forgot maybe. Let's look at the next one. We have here 5 more situations. And again, you will have 1 minute to think what kind of question must be used here. I'm sure you are ready, so let's look at them. You need to know if David will be at the club tonight. Ask him. Oops. Will you be at the club tonight? You want to know if the train is on time. Ask Mark. Is the train on time? You're wondering if Mike and Harriet go camping. Ask David. Do Mike and Harriet go camping? You want to ask Matthew if you can borrow his tennis racket. Can I borrow your tennis racket? And the last one, you want to know if Nick has got a motorbike. Ask him. Have you got a motorbike? We have here the next situation. These are situations and we know already the answers. When we know the answer, we usually use negative yes/no question. So please think how to create a negative question according to this situation. I have already shown you first 2 examples when I was explaining the rules. So I'm sure it will be very easy for you. You got a minute or maybe less even to do so. Let's check. I suppose that is Pauline's car. Isn't that Pauline's car? Or maybe isn't that the Pauline's car? The intonation goes down if we know the answer. I think that we should leave now. Shouldn't we be leaving? I guess that is the oldest building on the street. Isn't that the oldest building on the street? I hope you will stay for dinner. Won't you stay for dinner? I believe you would like another coffee. Wouldn't you like another coffee? Sounds very nice. Let's look at the last slide over here. Okay, The time is running out and we have to move on, guys. So I will read you the answers. I don't know if the manager can do something about that noise. So can't the manager do something about that noise? He was jogging when he saw a crime yesterday morning. Wasn't he jogging when he saw a crime yesterday morning? According to Susie, he has a girlfriend. Doesn't he have a girlfriend? You should take it home and read it at your leisure. Shouldn't you take it home and read it at your leisure? And the last one, there will be probably 500 people at the meeting. Won't there be 500 people at the meeting? Now, let's finish and I will be back. Here I am. So, let's make the conclusion about creating yes-no questions. First of all, you have to keep in mind that the first word that we use in yes-no questions, this is auxiliary verb. Watch our webinar about auxiliary verbs, how to identify them if you have difficulties with that. For yes-no questions, we give very simple yes or no answers, different types. Also possible to use negative yes-no questions when we want to check or confirm the information or when we want to make an offer or invitation. And also remember about the intonation. The intonation rises if we don't know the answer and it falls if we know it. Thank you very much for your time. I hope it was useful for you. Please keep watching us. Bye.